Hello everybody and welcome to another episode of my yarn podcast. This week I have two finished objects to show you, and I have also purchased just a little bit of yarn that I would really like to show you. I would like to show the finished objects first, then I will dive into my current whips, and then I will show the yarn that I purchased, and that will naturally lead me into my upcoming knitting plans. So without further ado, let's just jump right into it. So my first finished object this week, like I predicted, is another pair of Ruffle Socks. I really like these. I made these in the Undercover Otter Squirm Sock base in the colorway Jamie Lee, which means in this case that it has these lovely little neon colored flecks and specks all throughout it. I have changed a couple of things from the last pair of Ruffle Socks that I made, which means that I have added 2 rows to my folded over edge, and I have made 5 rows less between the ruffle edge and the rest of the sock, and then after that I just jump into my regular way of sock knitting with a heel flap and gusset decrease. Because this yarn was a 4-ply instead of a 2-ply like the last pair that I made, this one is a lot squishier. I think they're really nice. I think this is a really nice sock yarn. It's quite luxurious. I haven't worn these yet, but I'm really excited to wear them, and I think the subtle neon colors are really cute, and I think that was a really nice way to use some of that yarn. I haven't yet decided what my next pair of Ruffle Socks, like what type of yarn and colorway that will be knitted in. So we'll see when I figure that out, but currently I have some other exciting plans that I'm very happy to get going on pretty soon, hopefully. But these were my new Ruffle Socks. My other finished object of this week, as I predicted last week, was indeed my Best Vest by James Watts, executed by me. I used a combination. I held 2 yarns together. One of them was a yarn that I hand dyed myself from the brand Birches and Butches, Le Petit Lamb's Wool. This was the label, but I did hand dye it myself because originally this colorway was in white. So I dyed 3 colors. I dyed 2 pinky purples, and I dyed 1 kind of rainbowy yellowy, and I held all of them together with different mohair scraps that I had. And specifically I also bought some West Wool glow hair in the color Unicorn. That was the purpley one you see running through here. Making this, I think the pattern is really well written. I think the vest is really nicely constructed. I think the V in the middle here is very nice. I like how much ribbing it asks for you to do. I think it's really nice and squishy. I made a couple of little mistakes when I was knitting it. There are probably some things I would do a little bit differently next time if I ever do decide to knit this again. But mostly I think the pattern was just really well written. For me specifically, I had a little bit of a hard time knitting this because whenever I get a little bit too involved in a project and there's kind of too many kind of big decisions I'm making in it, like using that yarn that I dyed, and also in combination with the mohair, that I do think I might be a little sensitive to mohair. And also just plainly put, I was having a really bad week last week, and having kind of a rough week this week as well. And I think last week specifically, I was kind of trying to put all my negative feelings into panic knitting this vest, which is a fine coping mechanism, I think, but it also makes for that now I don't look back that fondly on knitting it, so that is no fault of the pattern, certainly, but we'll see when I get around to wearing it. I did try it on. The fit is actually really nice. I just shortened the body just a little bit, I think less than 5 centimeters. I shortened it on the 30 centimeters that the pattern originally calls for, because I was a little bit too worried it was going to be too oversized otherwise. but I think it'll turn out fine. It's just that I just don't have that many fond memories of actually knitting this, which is too bad because knitting is my greatest passion generally. But that's fine. I think for me, I was also just really doubting the color combinations, especially this yellow part. It is knitted bottom up. I started using my yellow speckled yarn with the West Wool Glow Hair in Pickle Juice, and that I think was not a good combination. So after just a few rows, I switched to this mohair scrap that I had with pink in it as well. I think that made it better, but when I was only up to here with knitting it, I think I was just really doubting the color combinations. I thought these looked fine together, but I had a lot of doubts about using this yellow with it. I was also just aware that I would have to kind of persevere and knit the whole thing, and when I would add all the other ribbing, that would probably kind of help it feel more cohesive, but I was feeling really doubtful when I was actually knitting this. So it's kind of a good example of the whole trust the process principle as well, because I am glad I finished it. If I just had ripped it out when I was up to here or something, that would have brought me nothing. And now at least I have this finished garment. I'm going to put it away for a while, and then hopefully after a month or maybe 2 I will pull it out and I will be very happy to wear it, because it is very squishy, and I did end up liking the colors and the way they all combine together. So yeah, that is my finished best vest from James & Watts. So now for my whips. I think the whip bag that I'm currently most excited about is this one, and especially the content of it, because it is my little capelet that I have been knitting on. I did manage to do some knitting on this as well, not just the best vest and the Ruffle Socks. It is not finished yet though, which is fine. I am currently at the point where I'm trying to decide how much further or how much longer I'm going to keep knitting on it. I've been doing around 14 or 15 rounds before I do an increase round, and I think I'm going to do 2 more passes of that, so around 28 rounds in total more before I go into another seed stitch edge, and then it'll be finished, because already when I try it on it is hitting me kind of until here. I'm hoping eventually it will hit somewhere around here, and then I'll be very happy with it. It's so cute. I think this yarn is so precious. I do notice, because I put it away for some while, and I'm also noticing a bit of a change in the dye lot from the new ball of yarn that I have attached, and kind of a difference in my tension as well. That is a little bit unfortunate, but I think especially the tension will be kind of saved by blocking it, and I am not too upset about the difference in the colorway. It's just too bad that there's less of this kind of vibrant green in there, because I think that vibrant green is really nice and makes it feel extra autumny to me. But that's fine. It is what it is, and I still really like this. I still really like knitting on it. I'm hoping that I'll be able to finish it in maybe the next week or so, but like I said, I have some things I'm excited about casting on as well, so I'm not making any hard commitments on that. I am still working on, or rather not working, but the Everyday Bra is still a whip that is in a project bag, but I've made absolutely 0 progress on it, and I'm also not really planning on trying to make any significant progress on it anytime soon, so that is unfortunately graduating to be a languishing whip. It's fine, I'll get to it when I'll get to it, and for now I'm doing other things. I am also not really knitting that much on this pair of leg warmers at the moment. That's fine as well. I'm just really excited about the other things I'm making. This will wait for me, and when I feel ready to tackle it again, I am sure I can pull it out again. Which brings me to my knitting plan. So like I told you last week, I did eventually find that whip of the Librarian Vest that I started making 2 years ago. When I was trying to try it on, I did put part of it on like a barber cord and another part on a different set of needles, but I was being impatient. My tension was really tight on it. I think my tension was actually too tight on it. I ended up discovering that it did fit me, but unfortunately in the process, and because my tension was so tight, I was dropping stitches left and right when I was trying it on and when I was taking it off, and because my tension was also so tight, I kind of didn't really enjoy how tight the little cables looked as well, so I unfortunately ended up ripping it all out, which is fine because part of me also kept thinking to myself, just one moment for the project bag again, I love this one so much. I also kept thinking that idea that I told you about at some point, where I really want to do the ribbing in this contrasting color and then do the rest of it in this lovely green color. I still love that idea, and I kind of loved that idea more than continuing the previous version of it. I also really want to make my tension a little looser, and I'm not entirely sure if I can do that by knitting it on the same needles or if I should go up. Okay, so if I'm completely honest, I think my ideal needle to do this project on is the needles, or are the needles that are currently stuck in this project. So I think I should finish this first, be happy about that, and then actually start this project. So maybe I'll be able to start it sometime next week, maybe in 2 weeks. I'm still excited about this, though I am fairly committed to this course of action. I'm not sad, or not that sad, that I ripped out the previous version. I think eventually this will be nicer and I'll be more happy doing this. And I also just need to refamiliarize myself with doing that little cable pattern. And if I'm already kind of struggling with my tension just naturally being different from a year, not knitting on a specific project and then picking it up again, not knitting on a project for 2 years and then trying to pick it up again, I think is going to be just like a significant difference in tension. Alright, now for my yarn acquisition. So I've been talking about, and I've been showing you little pictures of this for a while, especially this one I was so excited about. I think this one is so stinking gorgeous. I am absolutely in love with this. I think King Fiber is one of my favorite yarn brands. They are horrifically expensive though, at least where I live. They are really, really expensive, but I did have a little discount code derived from loyalty points, so I don't know who's winning here. Partially me, because I have this now and I think it's absolutely beautiful. So this is on their King Fibers yarn base called King Yak Singles. And yak fiber, I have a couple of yak shawls that have been woven and I have purchased at some point. Those are the warmest shawls I own. I have really large ones, so sometimes I will even put them on the bed in the winter when it starts getting really cold. So this is actually a blend between a superwash merino, a silk, and yak. So it's a very interesting yarn base. It is quite thin. It is a single ply, but it is so soft. And I am so excited to start knitting with this. So I've showed you and I've talked about it before. I want to use this to knit the Event Horizon cowl. And I want to combine it with this yarn, this Undercover Otter sock base in Deadite. I think it's going to be absolutely beautiful. I think these two are going to combine so lovely. It is just, it's very much inspired by the colors that are actually used in the pattern, but just this one is different enough where I feel like it's more me and I am really excited about it. I think this is so beautiful. I wish I could just have this. I bought the pattern. I'm trying to figure out which needle sizes I'm going to be using with this. I will lean towards the smaller needle sizes, certainly, and I'm just really excited about this. I also think that, I'm sorry, I forgot her name, but the person that wrote the Event Horizon pattern, I think she just looks really cool. I think her pattern, there's lots of little touches in it, little logos and color choices, and it looks very well and clearly written. And I'm also just, I don't know, the whole design of the pattern itself just looks very exciting to me. I think this is like the most exciting or the most excited I have felt about knitting something in a long, like, I like knitting, but I'm like really excited about knitting this and these colors, and I think it's all just going to be so gosh darn dreamy. I only with like a lot of willpower withheld myself from instantly caking this up, because I just wanted to show this to you in its beautiful skeined state as well. But as soon as I end filming this podcast, I will be caking this, and very soon after casting this on as well. I have no illusions about being able to finish this in a week, but I'll show you next week where I am with my progress. So stay tuned for that. So I have also bit the bullet and I bought the Life in the Long Grass in the color Fizz. I have also finally bought the Oslo Hat pattern, and I have read a little bit more, and I finally understand my confusion about the yardage that this pattern called for, because I have dyslexia, and I quickly skimmed the information of the pattern, as I tend to do, and I just saw something about DK weight, and then I saw like I think like around 600 meters or more even of yardage. And I was really confused, because I was like, how on God's green earth can you need that much yardage of a DK weight yarn to knit a hat? But when I bought the pattern and I started reading it with a bit more care, I finally understood that the pattern tries to call for holding a fingering weight yarn double, and the yardage of the pattern is the yardage for both of those fingering weight strands. So indeed, at least I do now feel reassured that the pattern is not calling for over 600 meters of DK weight yarn. I've also looked at the projects of this pattern, and I saw that some people are making it in a DK weight, because this is indeed a DK weight. So I think it's going to be fine, but it does mean I need so much less of it than I thought I would, because originally I was thinking I'm just going to combine these two and see how far I get. But now that I understand the yardage that I need, I think I might even have enough with one. So I was thinking to myself, which one do I want to use? Do I still want to make it stripy? Like, what do I want? I think I actually want to try and make a full Oslo hat just out of the Fizz color. I'll see how far I'll get. And if I don't make it all the way, I'll just add a little bit of this to the top. I don't know. I think the saturation level is so close that I think they would combine just fine. And I do like this color right now just a little bit more for a hat. And then I was also thinking, I found this other pattern. So I really like bonnets. It is kind of outside of my comfort zone to knit a hat for myself, even though at the very first stages when I started getting a little bit more into knitting and crochet, my biggest goal was to be able to make hats for myself, because my head I just have a big dome. There's no other way around it. I just have a big dome. And I would never ever be able to find hats that would fit me. Even in the men's department, I would try hats, toques and beanies and stuff, and almost nothing would fit me. And if I would find something that would fit me, it would never be a cute hat, of course. So that is how I originally kind of started getting more into knitting and crochet, because I was just like, a girl just wants a hat at some point, like it gets cold, come on. And then after that, I kind of really fell out of the habit of wearing hats, also because I wear my noise cancelling headphones almost all the time. I really like going on to little adventures by myself, so I also don't have anyone with me that I'm trying to communicate with. And the noise cancelling headphones also keep your head quite warm. And often actually with a hat, it is a little bit difficult to still comfortably fit your noise cancelling headphones over that. So that is something I have been kind of struggling with for the past couple of years. And that has led me to start making bonnets when that became a trend. I love the bonnet trend. I think it really helps. I think your hair looks less messed up after you take your bonnet off, because it's often like less tight to your head, and it's really suitable to still put your noise cancelling cancelling headphones over, but I finally do want to bite the bullet and knit the Oslo hat and see how I get on with that. But I was thinking, if I'm not going to be needing at least a majority of this yarn, how about I knit myself another bonnet? And I just found this lovely pattern. I have not knitted a bonnet before, I have only crocheted a bonnet before from a YouTube tutorial, and I think this person and this bonnet, the whole vibe is very good. And I think I would like to try that, and I think I would like to try that with this yarn. I'm also kind of toying with the idea, because this bonnet has these lovely straps, to kind of copy my idea for the ballet wrap cardigan and use, I don't know how much I'll have left, of course, after I knit my cowl, so I'm going to do that first. But if it looks like I will have enough left of this, because I also still have enough of that mohair in the color Pickle Juice left, I might just copy my idea and make the straps of that bonnet in this contrasting color together with this yarn. I'll probably not wear them together, like the cardigan and the bonnet, but I'm very enamored with this color choice, and I think the straps on this bonnet just look really nice and big, and it would make for a lovely contrast color. So I would like to try that, I think. But it depends on how much I will have left of this, and otherwise maybe I will buy another slime green type of yarn, but this is taking me pretty far at the moment, and I just have to use it first for that cowl I'm going to be knitting. So those were my yarn purchases and my knitting plans. I'm really excited about doing all of that. I have one last thing to show you. I will first kind of grab this project bag again. So I have a couple of these project bags now, this one, and I could also still add something to the back of this one. Like, I really liked adding this on the front of this, and I would love to do a similar thing to this one. And I have been toying with the idea of doing some cross-stitch embroidery, make a little patch basically, and add that to that project bag. I've been having a little bit of trouble though finding my groove and finding my inspiration in terms of cross-stitch. So I actually went to my local library recently and I got this lovely book, which will also, for the people that don't recognize my accent, finally give my nationality away, which is fine. So this book, I actually went to have a look at the knitting books, but my poor brother, he was so confused when I was just flipping through the knitting books, and I was just like, I don't like this one, I don't like that one. I decided I don't like any of them, and I only left with this cross-stitch book. Why didn't I like any of the knitting books? Well, partially, or like mostly, because I knit in English and all the books at the library were in Dutch. And I am unwilling to try and teach myself refamiliarize myself with knitting terminology in another language that will serve me very narrowly, because all the patterns I'm usually interested in are all in English. I really like using Ravelry. I love finding things on Instagram and being inspired by that, and I love getting just single patterns from indie designers. I don't have a big collection of knitting books, and I'm not that interested in it. And if I do purchase a knitting book, unless I find one in a thrift store that I find really inspiring, all the knitting books I ever buy are all in English. So all the knitting books in my local library, and it is quite a big library, that was a bit of a disappointment, because I was just like, they're all in Dutch, and I didn't even like them that much in general, just their vibe. They didn't have any of the Len ones, they didn't have anything pom-pom related, so I was just, they didn't have any of the like 52 weeks of socks, or they basically almost didn't have anything I would find in one of my local knitting stores that I would actually be interested in. So that was a bit unfortunate, but I did find this book, and I think this will really help me be inspired for my cross-stitching adventure. I will show you a couple of them that I was feeling really inspired by. Yeah, like especially with the weather cooling down and it is officially autumn, and autumn is actively autumning at the moment. These types of illustrations with the apples and the little apple trees and stuff like that, I've just really been enjoying that. Like, look at these lovely little harvest fruits baskets. It's so cute. So I don't yet know what I'm going to do with this. Let me find one of the more wintry ones. Yeah, so it's just all these big charts basically. And yeah, I have most of the other things I would need for this. I have quite a bit of embroidery floss. I have some embroidery fabric. I currently have it all in this tiny little cupboard that I have. I ordered kind of a folder where I would be able to store a specific project, because I think I would like that better than having my whole setup out. I kind of want to condense it to all the stuff I need for one project, because I sit here every evening and a lot of the day as well when I'm doing my crafts, and I kind of want to condense it in a way that it becomes more portable for me and it becomes feasible for me to just sit here in the evening and do my cross stitch as well as my knitting. Because if I have to make this whole setup and if I have to sit in a different spot, it becomes far less likely that I'm actually going to be doing it. So we'll see. I like this book. I have been feeling inspired by it. I will probably also go on Pinterest a bit and look for more inspiration and maybe combine some things. But for now, I've just enjoyed flicking through this book and seeing what other people have done. So that's nice. I hopefully will be able to at least pick my design and pick my flosses for next week, and then maybe I'll be able to show it to you. But embroidery is clearly not my main craft and my main thing. It will probably be a little bit more of a project-oriented project versus a process-oriented project, which is also fine sometimes. I also definitely have some handkerchiefs that I've been willing to, or that I've been hoping to embroider. I love carrying a little hanky with me, so I would love to embroider a few for myself, and I just love all the kind of like granny crafts and just being a little brightly colored granny in my early 30s. It's fine. I enjoy it. So yeah, I'm really excited about that. Stay tuned for more. Alright, this little beast has been causing a ruckus all morning. She has finally settled down for her morning naps. So I'm going to take this opportunity to have her sign off this video with me. I think she's so cute. I just love her so much. She's such a little grump. She's so sleepy. Thank you so much for watching. I will see you next week and I will keep you posted on my projects. And thank you so much for tuning in. And goodbye from Bert and me. Bye!